Today we're at Cultivate, which is put on by American Hort. This is the largest industry trade show for the green industry or the garden center industry. And today we're going to take a walk through the Proven Winner booth and check out all of the various little vignettes they have. We're going to take a look at new plant varieties. We're going to take a look at award-winning plant varieties and just a lot of the gorgeous things that they're showing off today. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and let's go ahead and take a walk through this booth and show you what I am seeing here firsthand. First off, we're going to take a look at some of the most award-winning plants in this plant brand. So some of these are going to come to you maybe as a surprise, and others of you, maybe not so much. The number one most award-winning petunia is the Supertunia Vista bubblegum. I know a lot of you have grown Vista bubblegum in your landscape, and the plant just speaks for itself with its excellent garden performance. Suncredible Yellow has also been a favorite of ours. It's a gorgeous yellow sunflower, and it holds up so great in our landscape. We planted a lot of times up by our waterfowl garden, which gets a lot of wind and a lot of heat, and it just holds up beautifully. We don't need to do any deadheading on it at all throughout the summer. Another favorite is the Truffula Pink Gomphrena. Truffula Pink Gomphrena is an excellent thriller that can be used in containers, or if you want to plant it in the landscape, it's a great plant for attracting those hummingbirds and butterflies to the garden. It has a beautiful kind of globe-like flower that is just something that really is a pollinator magnet. Speaking of pollinator magnets, Kufia vermillionaire. If you are looking to attract hummingbirds to the garden, our number one must-have plant is the Kufia vermillionaire with its gorgeous tubular blooms. Here's a little sample of it here in the display. The orange tubular blooms. Anything, honestly, with a tubular bloom is going to attract those hummingbirds. But Kufia vermillionaire is definitely a must-have in containers or planted in the landscape. Supertunia Mini Vista Pink Star isn't doing too bad itself with over 100 awards. The Mini Vista Pink Star is part of the Vista series, which is a perfect plant for planting in the landscape. The Mini Vistas have just a slightly smaller flower. They're not quite as tall or as mounding as the regular Vistas are, but that gorgeous bicolor bloom with the pink and the white sure is stunning when you plant it in mass. It's one of those plants that from a distance is surely going to draw the attention to anybody who is passing by your garden. We love the unplugged So Blue Salvia. We use that a lot in our landscape, and you can see why. It too is a very aggressive award-winning annual variety. The unplugged So Blue features tall spikes of beautiful purple flowers. This is another one that's great for attracting hummingbirds and butterflies to the garden. We like to plant them in mass in our landscape, and oh, that purple blue is just absolutely gorgeous. For those of you who maybe have a little bit drier gardens that you're dealing with, the Blue My Mind Evolvus is a wonderful plant, especially for those of you in the south. These are drought-tolerant plants, and the hotter they are, the more they kick out those beautiful blue flowers. Now, when we talk about blue flowers, a lot of times blue and purple get interchanged in the flower world, but this Blue My Mind has true blue flowers. I'm looking through the display here to see if there's anything to show you, but unfortunately, because we are inside in a trade show, that plant is not so great grown indoors under these terrible artificial lights. And then the last one we're going to show you here is the Senorita Rosalita. So Senorita Rosalita is a sterile cleome, as are almost all of the Proven Winner plants. They've been bred to be sterile, meaning that they have no job to produce a seed. Their one and only job is to produce lots and lots of flowers. And look at this massive planting here of the Senorita Rosalita. Is that not just a gorgeous ball of color? We're going to actually take the corner here because they have a ton of these in the trade show. Look at that. Lining this entire booth here are Senorita Rosalitas, and I think these are 15-inch pot, and they are looking absolutely stunning. Let's head back into the booth and see some of the new plant introductions. It's always exciting to see what some of the new plant varieties are, and I have been showing you a lot of the new annual varieties in our trial gardens at Garden Crossings because we've gotten sample plants of them. But some of the ones that I haven't really been able to show you because they just we either don't have samples or they aren't out in our landscapes are the new Agastaches. We've got the Maestro Coral and Gold. Now these are going to be, they're annuals, so they're not going to be perennial Agastache. They're not going to overwinter. But look at that beautiful gold color there. And then the coral. Now I will say, because we are indoors, these lights that they use in these trade shows do sometimes skew the color a little bit. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking here at some of these plant colors. We've got the Queen Tut. This is a variety that's been around a little bit, but I love using that as a thriller in my container combination. We've got Safari Dusk James Britannia, which is great for, I don't know, I like to use it as a replacement for Bacopa in my hanging baskets. And it's doing fantastic in our gardens at home as well, or in our containers at home as well. More so than I was even wildly expecting it to do. The Scaevola White has been improved. Look at that gorgeous mass of color. So as we're going through, some of these varieties are new and some of these varieties were new in the last couple years. So they are new, although some of them aren't new for this coming year. Here we have the Hoopla Supertunia. Look at that gorgeous purple center with that white picoty edge. That one's been really popular for us at Garden Crossings. Sweet Caroline Medusa Black. Look at that gorgeous foliage, heavily serrated leaves. The more sun it gets, the darker it is. So some of that green you're seeing there is new growth that hasn't been out in the sun. That's growth that's kind of emerged while we're here indoors. But that is just really nice. I like the Medusa because I like the habit of it. It's not quite as aggressive as some of the other sweet potato vines, and it does really good of kind of being respectful in a container combination. Campfire Bidens, along with a new James Britannia Lava Flow. Great introduction here of the reds and oranges. Campfire Red Ember. This has burgundy edges with a golden yellow center. And you can see when it's planted singularly in a pot what it looks like. And then the James Britannia with its bright lava red blooms. Really gorgeous. So this is one that you could mix in with petunias, Calibrachoa verbena, and just have kind of a nice spiller in your containers. Some more sweet potato vine kind of mixed in here. Also showing you some combinations where they've taken some Lantana, the Bidens, and the James Britannia and created a neat looking, warm looking combination. There's a lot of new Lobelia, part of the Laguna series, being introduced this year. There's Royal Azure, Royal Pink, Royal Blue Pearl, and Royal Lilac. Let's take a closer look at some of these. So here we've got the Royal Azure. It's almost a periwinkle blue. The Royal Pink. I'm loving kind of how there's that two different kind of colors going on depending on the age of the flower. Some of that too could be because we're here in the trade show as well. But that's a gorgeous pink color. The Pearl Blue is that nice blue with a little bit more of a white center there. The Royal Lilac has a lighter lavender edge and a darker lavender center. Really nice. And here we're seeing some of the Angelonia Perfectly Pink. I love Angelonia Perfectly Pink. It's been around for I shouldn't say a long time, but it's been around for a while, and it's really a great thriller for container combinations. It's like that perfect pink color. Some incredible Saturn Sunflower. We love that by our waterfall planting because that too can handle the wind and the heat of the summer. Here's a neat little vignette that's showing plants that are great for those of you who have a lot of heat, which feels like everyone does this summer. But the Aromagica Purple Heliotrope, oh my gosh, this plant has been gorgeous for us this year. So very fragrant and really big flowers. I've been really impressed with that in our landscape. Of course, Lantana, that's a great drought tolerant option. The butterflies, hummingbirds love Lantana. Some people like the smell, some people don't. I kind of like the smell of Lantana myself. But this is Berry Blend, beautiful blend of orange, yellow, and pink. James Britannia, as I mentioned earlier, a great drought tolerant plant for baskets or in the landscape. Good substitute for Bacopa, which if that gets dried out, it loses its flowers right away and doesn't come back for about 3 weeks. Got the Aromance Nemesia, very fragrant again. Beautiful light shades of pink and orange and white. We got the polka dot plant. Of course, salvia, the unplugged white, that we did a trial last year and that did just excellent in the garden. The white flowers stayed clean all summer long. Here's a few more. We've got the Stardiva Scaevola, Gara, which is a fun whimsy thriller in containers. Some more of the Lantana, more Aromance Pink, gorgeous Scaevola, and then the unplugged red salvia. It looks fantastic as well. I love this. Supertunia, often intimidated, never duplicated. I think that is so true. We are really impressed with the habit of the Supertunias. We use a ton of them out in the landscape, not only at our home, but in the greenhouse as well. And the thing is when you're planting, especially the Vista series, they are so aggressive. One plant can spread up to 3 foot wide and get about 2 foot tall. You just got to make sure that you water them and fertilize them often, like once a week, to keep them looking fabulous all summer long. And that's true. Any plant should be getting fertilized weekly to keep it looking great all summer long. So that there is a Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, which we love to use. And here is Cool Jazz. So Cool Jazz was actually found in a block of jazzberry, and they were able to propagate it, and it stayed true to its color. So that is how a new plant variety begins, is sometimes you just find one growing amongst others, and as long as it holds its color, it's stable, that's a new plant variety. So this is going to be nice to have kind of a softer, lighter, pinky purple color in the Supertunia collection this year. So there's kind of the side by side, so you can kind of see if you wanted to pair them together, what a fantastic pairing they would make. I should mention also that all of the plants in this little vignette are the Supertunia Vistas. And the Supertunia Vistas, as I mentioned a little bit ago, are the ones that do get about 3 foot wide and about 24 inches tall in the landscape. So if you're looking for like your number one go-to plant for the landscape, the Supertunia Vistas would be where I would start off recommending you choose a color from. Now, if you were wanting something maybe not quite as tall, still gets pretty wide, about 2 foot wide, but maybe you want something that has just a little bit smaller flower, that's where the Supertunia Mini Vistas come into play. And you can see all of the beautiful colors here. Now, this isn't even all of them that are available, but this is a pretty good sampling of some of the various colors. There's that pink star that we saw in the opening of the video. Beautiful bicolor blooms. There's scarlet for a nice red, midnight for a deep purple, white, which is really aggressive. We use that a lot in our hanging baskets. There's mulberry. There's purple star, yellow, and a new one for 2026 is the Mini Vista Pink Cloud. Look at those beautiful pink blooms with that nice light center there. It's just a nice soft color. A lot of these are quite bold, where this pink cloud is a nice soft one that I think is a great addition to the Mini Vista series. I just mentioned feed them and they'll be fabulous. So you may be wondering, what am I supposed to feed them with? Well, here is our recommended choice for fertilizer. This is a proven winner's premium water-soluble plant food. And the reason we like this is the iron that they use in here is special. It makes the greens greener or the foliage. This really helps promote flower growth. But the thing we really like is sometimes if your plants are bound up and they're kind of yellow, they have a hard time absorbing plant food. But with the iron that's used here in this Proven Winners water-soluble plant food, it's easily absorbed even in a plant that is bound up and typically would have a hard time absorbing the fertilizer that it needs to get that plant looking back on track again. This is kind of a fun way of describing this series of petunias. They're calling them the Novelties Supertunias. And these would be the ones that are just, they don't fit into like a specific category. Like they're not the Mini Vistas, they're not the Vistas. The Novelties, that's perfect. That's a great way of saying it. So what fits into this Novelty series? Supertunia Hoopla Vivid Orchid. The gorgeous purple center with the white outer edge. That's kind of fun. Oh, you've seen what Supertunia Terra Pink has done in our landscape. And if you haven't, you got to check out our video from just a few weeks ago where we featured these. These plants are monsters. Like, it doesn't take a lot of plant to put on a lot of color. And we have been overly impressed with just how vigorous these Supertunia Terra Pinks are. There's also a purple in the color. It's called actually Supertunia Blue Tiara, which it's purple. A lot of times blue and purple are intertwined in the plant world. Not near as aggressive as the pink. So if you're planting them together, I would do one purple. No, let's scratch that. I would do two purple to one pink. That way the pink hopefully doesn't just overtake the container. So two of the, I call it purple, two of the blue to one pink. So there's kind of a trio of options there in that novelty collection with the tiaras and the hooplas. And then you have your classic Supertunias. And the classic Supertunias are excellent as well. A lot of times you'll have just straight colors, or you'll have, in this case, Supertunia Bordeaux, which is probably one of our better selling Supertunias. Also, there's the Saffron Finch, which is a beautiful yellow, kind of a darker center with a lighter outer edge. There's just two examples here of the classics with the Bordeaux and the Saffron Finch. This actually is a pretty cool combination if you're looking to create a combination. It's got the Tropical Sunrise Super Bells, the Safari Dawn James Britannia, and then the Saffron Finch Supertunia. We've been jumping around a little bit, so now it's time to get back into some of the new varieties. And here we're showing again some of those sweet potato vines, the Sweet Caroline Medusa Black and the Sweet Caroline Shadow Storm. So this here is a Shadow Storm, and we've been trialing this one, and I've been really impressed with this. It's not overly aggressive. It hasn't taken over my aquapots yet. And it's just playing really nicely with the petunias that I have it in. It's got that dark and the dark black and then the green foliage. And then you'll see there's a lot of like a splash pattern going on as well. So really a unique coloration of sweet potato vine. Here's another of the Sweet Caroline Medusa. This one here in this planter, it looks like they actually have the green and the black planted together. So there you're seeing a lot more green than what we saw earlier, and that's because there's two plants planted in one. Some more of that Cool Jazz Supertunia. And then here is just a planting of just the Medusa Black. You're not seeing quite as much green in there as the one that we were just looking at that was having a lot of mixture going on. Last year introduced was the Supertunia Pink Cashmere. And this has been an excellent seller for us as well. Another aggressive Superbena, gorgeous pink color. And then this has gotten a lot of excitement this year when I've done videos on it. It's a Super Bell's Magic Double Grapefruit. So here under these lights, we're seeing a lot of yellow, but in my gardens, I'm seeing a lot more pinks and oranges. So you're getting three different colors all coming from one plant, just depending on the stage and the age of the flower. Silver River Didelta. Never heard of a Didelta before, so this is new for me. But this is kind of a succulent looking plant. A nice silver foliage, really doesn't flower at all. But look at all that texture that's creating in that pot. I'm going to see if I can find it mixed in with something. Oh, I do see right here. Let's show you it mixed in. Scabola White. That's actually kind of a nice mono pairing. But here they have it mixed in with Scabola Pink and Scabola Blue. So that's a really drought tolerant plant. And you got that silver in there. All of these are drought tolerant plants. And that's kind of a different look. I don't know, what do you think about that? That's something I would not have thought to put together, but I think looks really pretty cool. Here's the mixture of Scabola White, Pink, and Blue again. If you're looking for something that can handle the wind, handle the drought, Scabola is a great plant for the hanging baskets that can handle the heat of the summer and also windy situations. All right, this is another great grouping of new varieties. We've got the Alocasia. This is Emerald Isle. We carried that this year. This is a fairly new variety. Look at those giant glossy green rippled edged elephant ears. And that is a great thriller if you're looking to plant it with petunias or even begonias. That is just really something that is a huge statement piece. New Surefire Cascade Red. So we have these planted in the landscape, and it's hard to show the cascading habit because they're in the ground. So here they have it planted in a planter, and these are going to be a lot like the Surefires, but they're going to cascade over the pot more. So that's going to be kind of a unique and different habit that you can put in your baskets. We got that with some of that Dichondra Silver Falls. That's a great pairing. Both of those would kind of trail over, but obviously Silver Falls is going to be a lot more trailing. But that is really a pretty cool look. There's more of that double grapefruit. Still a lot of yellow coming through. But again, like I said, it's because of these lights in this trade show floor. Plants just cannot do what they need to do when they're not in natural light. But there you can see there's a little bit more pink coming through to kind of give you an idea of what that bi and tricolor would look like when you have this planted, just that double grapefruit in a container. Some new caladiums. This one is Midnight Oil. That's very dark, very interesting, very shimmery, shiny. It does look like oil on water though, doesn't it? Look at those colors kind of coming through. That's really different and unique. This is Creme Brulee. Say that right, Heidi. That's kind of a cool, where you're getting various colors of kind of a rusty red, some white. That's got some nice contrast going on. More of the Medusa, the black, the Unplugged Red, which was a new introduction from last year. Beautiful red blooms. Hummingbirds love it. This is a bright booth of lots of fun Heidi kind of colors. We've got the Sweetheart Shadow Storm again, the sweet potato vine. I'm showing you these multiple times because I think when I'm showing you with different plants, it kind of gives you an idea of what you could pair them with as well. The Southern Blaze Blueberry. So this is the Phlox series. It was formerly called the Intensia Phlox. It's now called Southern Blaze. And they've added in a few new colors this year. Southern Blaze Bright Pink, which I love. That is such a vibrant, bright pink. Also Southern Blaze White. And this would actually create a pretty cool grouping if you planted them all together. These are heat tolerant, drought tolerant plants. So for those of you in warmer areas, this is where that plant really finds its time to shine. Oenothera, this is the sun glow color. And they put this in a new series called Superlopsis. I don't know what Superlopsis is, but that's the series. And beautiful bright yellow blooms. This is a great one to mix in with plants. I mean, it's great here as a mono, but mix it in. It just kind of has that eerie, fun feeling to it. And these two are a very heat tolerant plant. Unplugged Red Salvia. Those blooms are looking gorgeous. Let's see what else do we got down here. Oh, another mix. This one actually is not a great example, but this has Superlopsis Sunglow Oenothera, the Superbells Tropical Sunrise, and then some of that Blue My Mind, which is not showing much color right now. And again, that's because we're in this trade show, and that plant does not love being in a trade show. But isn't that such a bright and stunning booth? Just loaded with color. I'm impressed with a lot of these new varieties for this year. If there was something that you found interesting, I'd love to know what was it that really caught your eye of some of these new, and or maybe there was a variety that wasn't new, but something new to you. What could you foresee planting in your garden in 2026? Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments on any of these new proven winter varieties for 2026, or if you just have questions on any of the variety I've shown you in today's video, because I know we were mixing some new in with some old. There's a lot of great varieties to talk about, and I wanted to make for sure to show you them all. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.